Gang looking rigorous. My champagne, but I'm rigorous. My campaign looking rigorous. Whole team hella rigorous. Lifestyle so rigorous. Hairstyle so rigorous. The top 5 ain't rigorous. If you left out this rigorous.
If you know anything about me, then you know that I am chronically online, and I have been for a very, very long time, which is great because this is now my job. One of the social media platforms that I enjoy a lot but don't really frequent that much is called Reddit. Now, most South Africans aren't really on Reddit. We're more Facebook and Twitter users, but Reddit can be a really, really fun platform when the white men on there aren't being like racist and misogynist. One of my favorite pages on Reddit is called Am I the Asshole? You might know about it if you're on TikTok, because TikTok has made it even more popular from a lot of video creators making content off of that page. And I have always wanted to, but I just never got to doing it. And so I decided today is the day where I filmed the first episode of Am I the Asshole? Hopefully it's the first of many. We'll see. If you don't know what Am I the Asshole is, basically you just go on the page, you write down your scenario, whatever predicament you're in, and then you ask the general public, the general Reddit users, am I the asshole or not? Everybody then goes and reads your post. Hopefully you've given them enough information so that they can actually come to a conclusion on whether you are the asshole or not. So that's what we are going to do today. I am going to first come up to the conclusion, but what I need even more is for you guys to come up to your own conclusions in the comments below. So please do that. Now, the topics are very broad when it comes to am I the asshole. It could be of relationships, it could be romantic relationships, it could be family stuff, it could be things from work. It's all very, very broad, but you know what? We're all here together as a community to decide whether you are an asshole or not. Okay, the first one I want to start with is called, am I the asshole for refusing to move out even though my roommate is 7 months pregnant? Here we go. Hi guys, last week my roommate Becca found out that she's not only pregnant but 7 months along. She texted me that we had to talk today, and I had assumed she would be moving out soon for more space when the baby comes. Instead, she told me I have to move out to make space for the nursery and her baby daddy to move in. Firstly, Becca, 7 months is wild. Finding out you're pregnant 2 months before you're supposed to give birth sounds like an absolute nightmare. Even worse is asking your friend to move out because you only just found out. She carries on to say, I am on a terrible salary and cannot afford anywhere else to live. Plus, she wants me to move out right now so she can prepare for the baby. Even if I wanted to move out now, the apartment rentals in my area are either too expensive or well below living standards, so I don't want to move. She went absolutely crazy the moment I told her I wouldn't move out because I'm ruining her motherhood experience by not letting her family live together. Family. I pay rent here and my name's on the lease until at least the end of the year. I'm not going to pull out of the lease, and I told her that if she wants her little family together, that she should move and I'll find someone to half the cheap rent with. That made her start crying and saying how I just want to ruin her life to the point her baby daddy had to console her and tell me to get out of their way already. I've not heard her stop crying since, but I think I'm totally valid that I don't want to leave. Am I the asshole for not wanting to move out? That's interesting. So firstly, Becca finds out that she is 7 months pregnant. You guys have a year-long lease. And now she wants you to move out so that they can use your bedroom as a nursery. You are not the asshole. I'm so sorry. There is no galaxy, no stratosphere where you are the asshole for not wanting to move out, at least until your lease is over. I feel like that's just common decency. If I am living with someone, let's say I'm living with a woman, she falls pregnant, she wants me to move out so that her baby daddy can move in and they can use my room as it doesn't make sense to me. The only thing that makes sense is for you to wait till your lease is over, and then you can properly discuss whether you're moving out or not. You having a baby and not knowing that you're pregnant is not my problem. You having unprotected sex is not my problem. So I don't understand. It really seems like a you problem. It seems like Becca has the problem and not anybody else. And the fact that the baby daddy is also working the same way, you know what? It's probably the pregnancy hormones. She is 7 months pregnant and also finding out overnight. I'm going to empathize with Becca actually just a little bit, because I can imagine That's not an easy thing to find out, that you're suddenly 7 months pregnant with a guy that I just saw now, I scrolled a little bit, with a guy that still lives with his mom. Now they want to move into the house with her, so she has to live with her friend, or rather her roommate's baby daddy. No, she doesn't. She wants her out. She doesn't even have to. It's not making sense to me. It's not correlating. I think the only way to sort out this matter is to sit Becca down and say, Becca, listen to me. This does not make sense. It does not make sense for you to expect me to leave because you found out you were pregnant. Let's celebrate the pregnancy. Let's all be here together. Also, I don't even know if I'd be comfortable with the baby daddy moving in. I think depending on our relationship, if our relationship is good, maybe I'd be okay with baby daddy living there full time. I think we can assume that he visits, probably sleeps over every now and then since she is pregnant. But honestly, I think those are the only two options. Option one is that no, none of this is going to happen. You're going to give birth, and the first few months, however long the lease is, then we will decide if I am going to move out or not, or if you're going to move out or whatever, when the lease is over. The only other option, which I think is nice, but it's still taking it a step far, not like a step far, but you're being really gracious as the roommate if you decide that yes, your baby daddy can come live with you in your room. You guys can then have the cot in your room. I think that's as far as it goes. That's where I would be comfortable. But at this point, it really feels like this person lives with a roommate who is very inconsiderate. If your first thought when you find out that you are 7 months pregnant is to kick out your roommate so that you can make space for a nursery, that's wild. I feel like if you want to start a life, a family, you have to deal with the consequences of your actions. If she really wants to bring this family of hers together, baby daddy and her new child, then they need to go find their own space to live in. I feel like that's the only thing that makes sense. Am I crazy? Let me know in the comments below. Do you think OP is the asshole? OP stands for original poster, which is the person who posted. We're gonna learn some proper internet culture now. Okay, when I say OP, I'm talking about the person that actually posted the thread. Do you think she's the asshole? Do you think not? I think it would be very difficult to say that she's the asshole. I don't even think there's any discussion here or leeway. Okay, we'll do one more. We'll do one more. Okay, this is a very long one, but I know we have time. We love to yap. This one is from OP, is called Forgotten Child 9. She says, am I the asshole for exposing my parents when they forgot about me on their wedding? TLDR, my parents were married a couple of weeks ago in Hawaii, and they invited my siblings and a few friends, but forgot to include me in any part of the planning, the ceremony, or the trip. So I exposed them on social media, and now they are furious. TLDR means too long, didn't read. Basically, it's like a summary of what the person said. So for example, if you see a super long thread, you can just ask somebody for the TLDR and they'll summarize it for you, because we are very lazy. Anyway, here's the full one. I know this seems like a weird situation, but I just feel so angry and depressed that I feel the need to vent even if no one is listening. So I, 17 female, was recently forgotten about on the day of my parents' wedding. My parents have been together for about 25 years, but they never actually got married. That's why when my dad, 50 male, proposed to my mother, 49 female, on their anniversary, which they have always celebrated on the day my mother found out she was pregnant with my older sister, even though they were already together before. Everyone, including me, was elated and celebrated the occasion with joy. This happened all the way back in February. This post was literally this morning. That's crazy. This happened all the way back in February. They immediately jumped into wedding planning, deciding very early on a small event in Hawaii with just my closest family and friends for an intimate ceremony. Almost immediately, my mother asked my sister, 25 female, to be her maid of honor, and my dad asked my brother, 22 male, to be his groomsman. So clearly this is a last born talking about her obviously older parents and older brother and sister. I wasn't surprised or offended by this. My sister had always been a mommy's girl, and they both enjoy spending time with each other, shopping and socializing, so they had a very close bond. And the same goes for my father and brother. They always played football together and messed around with cars. My father even trained my brother's team for a while in middle school. That had always left me as the odd one out. I tried to insert myself in my family's hobbies and groups that they had within our home, but was always rebuffed. Maybe they could sense that my interest in their activities wasn't all that genuine, or maybe they just didn't care. Either way, I was used to being the last and least important member of the family. It's really upsetting. Mom had sis and dad had bro. My parents had each other, and my two siblings were closer to each other than they ever were to me, leaving me very lonely and isolated in my own home. During the preparation for the wedding, initially it was suggested that I be the flower girl, but my sister thought that role would be more appropriate for her daughter, 3 female. This is a 3-year-old daughter. So that idea was quickly tossed away. Later on, my maternal grandmother suggested that I might read a poem or do a little bit of a speech during the ceremony. But both my parents refused because they wanted the wedding to be low-key. What do you mean low-key? What's wrong with your daughter saying a speech? And they didn't think a cheesy and sappy speech would fit their vision, their literal words. Cheesy and sappy speech. I was still okay with all of this, even though it hurt to know I would be the only member of the family to not actually be part of the wedding party or have any role at all on that day. As the day approached, my parents and siblings got more and more caught up on all the wedding planning. I noticed my mom didn't invite me dress shopping, and that whenever they would have discussions about the venue or the event, I was left out. So I decided to see if they would realize that I wasn't being involved at all and kept quiet, waiting for them to ask me something, anything about the wedding. But that never happened. Yeah, this is a sad one. Damn. The wedding was set for 3 weeks ago, the end of August. The day before the departure, my mother casually asked if I had my luggage ready because I couldn't be late to the airport. I bluntly told her that I hadn't prepared anything. She got confused for a second and then snapped at me for not being prepared. I then asked her if I even had a ticket, and her face went pale. Yep, they hadn't even bought me a ticket, and I'm not even sure if I had a room or any accommodations once there. Even though I was the only person in my family without a stable income, I work as a part-time babysitter, also she's 17, my parents had bought first-class tickets for my siblings and a couple other friends that were attending the wedding, but had forgotten about me. What? My mom told me not to make a big deal out of it and that they can just find me a low-cost ticket last minute from a cheap airline, but I just replied by asking her, then what? Do I even have a dress for the ceremony? She went with sis to buy hers and all the other female guests months ago, but I wasn't included. What do you mean we can get you a low-cost flight? If you guys are flying on British Airways, British Airways, it's not in South Africa anymore. Anyway, if you guys are flying SAA, British Airways, fancy, first class, business class, whatever she said. Me, you want to put me on Fly Safe? Oh, what fun. That's when my father came in and just told me to suck it up and that I've never been a girly girl, so I could just wear whatever. I got mad at this because even though I'm not the most feminine girl in the planet, I would have loved to be included in such an important part of my parents' wedding. And it was about the fact that I was excluded for literally everything that had been going on for months. We all got into a fight with them, calling me entitled and accusing me of making myself small intentionally so they would forget me. Like this is a valid excuse for ignoring a child. They ended up telling me that if I was going to keep this attitude, I might as well skip the whole thing altogether. To which I responded with a defiant, fine, and I went to my room. You can literally tell this girl is 17, she's a child. Next morning, they all left for Hawaii without me. The ceremony was really small, but they all posted loads of pictures on Insta and Facebook about how perfect and magical that whole week was being. People realized quickly that I wasn't in any of the photos and asked my parents why, to which they replied that unfortunately I had caught COVID before the trip and I had to stay behind. Are you nuts? Are you They lied and told people that she had COVID. Because the truth would have not set them free. My blood boiled at this, understandably. I don't know why this was the straw that broke the camel's back for me, but it was. I decided to take a COVID test and published a picture of myself holding the negative test and captioned it, "Not sick at all, just forgotten." I tagged everyone that had questioned my absence from the trip and the wedding in the picture, and for good measure, also every person invited to it. Ooh, you are messy. I love it. I also wrote in the comments about how my parents had literally forgotten about anything to do with me until the day before parting and how they actually uninvited me. That's so wild. There's people typing. On Reddit, you can see when people are typing on that specific story. There's people typing right now. Most people were on my side and others couldn't believe it, and they thought there must be something more to the story than what I was saying. But one thing is for certain, I completely ruined my parents' wedding, and their day was overshadowed by my confession. At first, I felt quite satisfied with myself for standing up on my own, but after a barrage of messages from family calling me every name in the book, and later when they came back, them furiously attacking me for my immature actions and my spoiled behavior, my pride deflated quickly, and I began to feel awful. I hate my family and I hate being in this house, but I'm a minor and I can't leave just yet. I do feel like I could have handled the situation better though, and now I feel so depressed that I'm second guessing everything I did, from not speaking up before to the way I exposed him. I also feel guilty for the lack of connection between all of my family and me, and maybe I could have done more. So, am I the asshole for ruining my parents' wedding when they forgot about me? You are not the asshole. You are a child. Firstly, that was really sad. That was really sad and upsetting to read. As much as it's tea, wow. I need to know from you guys, are any of you lastborns, and do any of you feel this way? Because I feel like the general consensus is that lastborns are the most loved, they're the most spoiled. They're the ones who tend to get the most love from their parents because parents are older, they now are more or rather better at raising children, they've learned quite a lot. But this is an interesting perspective where the lastborn is saying, I'm the one who's most disconnected from my family. My mom and my sister are besties, my dad and my brother are besties, my siblings are besties, and obviously my parents are besties, and I kind of feel left out, which is it's wild to me. Guys, please tell me, what numbers are these? Please tell me, what numbers are these? I don't know who you are and what you want, but how is your number 084135? Back to what I was saying. I don't think that she is the asshole. I don't think that OP is the asshole at all. I think it's a massive deal. And I think as a 17-year-old, I understand, but she's even taking it lightly. The fact that she's even asking, am I the asshole? But I think you have to be a little bit older to see the perspective that we might see, which is, it is crazy to leave your 17-year-old daughter behind when you go and get married with friends and family. That is disgusting. That is horrible. That is going to traumatize her probably for the rest of her life. That is at least 30 sessions of therapy. I don't understand how they could get on the flight first class. I don't understand how they could stand by the pulpit, man, whatever it's called, the archway, and get married in Hawaii in a vacation destination, knowing that their daughter is sitting at home, seeing this on social media, posting the pictures on social media. That is egregious, guys. There are some Am I the Assholes which are just funny. That is incredibly sad, incredibly traumatizing. I never felt like that in my family. Definitely, I think you'll feel the sense that some people are closer than others, but to feel completely left out to that extent, especially when you're the youngest one, because when you have siblings who are older, they're the ones who are supposed to be making the decisions. The parents also are supposed to be the ones making the decisions, making a plan for you to feel included. I don't think it was bad of you at all, especially as a 17-year-old, to pull yourself away. It is the parents' responsibility, it's the elders' responsibility to go, hey, little sis is not included here. Why isn't she doing A, B, and C? They even said, the grandma said maybe she can read a poem, maybe they can do a speech. Calling a speech from your 17-year-old daughter sappy and cheesy. What? I don't know, man. I think that's incredibly wild, but more than anything, I think it's incredibly heartbreaking. Okay, let's talk about exposing them on social media. I would say that was a bad thing to do, but the fact that they lied on your name and said you have COVID, you did the right thing. You did the fact that you went and you got a COVID test just to prove that you don't have COVID, that is the kind of petty that I just aspire to be. You did not ruin their wedding. They ruined their own wedding by being such piece of shits. And that's all I have to say. Let me know in the comments below, do you think that she was the asshole or not? What do you think about her parents? But most importantly, I actually want to hear from people who've been in some similar situations. And I'm talking about feeling left out in your family, feeling like everybody else is besties and you're not. I think that is, it's kind of just blown my mind what she said, because I've never thought of lastborns as feeling left out. That's very interesting. Thank you very much for watching this video. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day. Let me know in the comments below also if you want me to make more of these, or if we just should call it a day with this first video. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you soon. Peace.